तो चलिए आज का डिस्कशन हम लोग शुरू करते हैं। गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन एंड द टॉपिक ऑफ टुडेज डिस्कशन इज वेयर द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ इक्वालिटी स्टैंड्स इन द रेल्म ऑफ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल लॉ एंड डेवलपमेंट। मूलतः हम कोशिश करेंगे एक आर्टिकल को पढ़ने का जो हिंदू में आया था 27 नवंबर को, और उसी को मतलब डिस्कस करते हुए हमने कोशिश करा है कि जो हमारा नेशनल सेमिनार का टॉपिक है, जो टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलपमेंट एंड प्रॉब्लम्स ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, उसी को कनेक्ट करते हुए, क्योंकि बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो हम लोग रेगुलर डिस्कस करते आए हैं इस फोरम पर, चाहे वो ऑक्सफैम रिपोर्ट हो और इनइक्वालिटी रिपोर्ट और पेपर रिटन बाय थॉमस पिकेटी एंड ऑल, and different articles which we have discussed here are precisely enshrined in that article on the occasion of 75th celebration of Constitution Adoption Day or Constitution Day, and that is why I have chosen that article. I will read out that article before all of you, and in that way I will initiate this discussion, that where equality principle and development discourse stands in this constitutional scheme. So before going to read that article written by one of Professor Venkat Narayan Sethuraman, the heading of this article is From a Republic to a Republic of Unequals. I will repeat the article title, From a Republic to a Republic of Unequals. And he is a associate professor and head of the Department of International Studies, Political Science and History at Christ University, Bengaluru. So I will read out that article and then we will further discuss. And this article was published in The Hindu on 27th November 2024. This article starts with this point, that the Constitution Day on November 26, 2024 marked 75 years of the adoption of the Constitution and constitutional governance in independent India. The Constituent Assembly debates show the intellectual engagement of leaders from a spectrum of ideologies, right wing to left wing, in building a single political identity that was accommodative of the interest and rights of multiple cultural groups. तो यहाँ ऑथर ने बताने का कोशिश किया है कि डिफरेंट स्पेक्ट्रम के होने के बावजूद भी एक सिंगल पॉलिटिकल आइडेंटिटी हम लोगों ने क्रिएट किया जब संविधान बना. The second paragraph argues that the constitution makers accepted the liberal framework and wanted the state to play a positive role in intervening and reducing inequality due to poor social indicators at the time of independence. जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन का नेचर है, जिसमें ये बताया गया है कि पॉलिटिकली हम लिबरल फ्रेमवर्क एडॉप्ट किए हैं, लेकिन स्टेट का पॉजिटिव रोल हमने रिकॉग्नाइज किया है ताकि जो इनइक्वालिटी है, जो इनइक्वालिटी का जो सोशल इंडिकेटर्स है, उसको हम हैंडल कर सकें. विथ लिबरलिज्म, author further argues, with liberalism as a political ideology, there was an insistence that there should be freedom for citizens to carry out activities without any state interference, and there was belief that only in a free environment could human potentialities, be they intellectual, moral or physical, be realized. Thus liberty become the core values of liberalism. यहाँ ऑथर्स डिस्कस करते हैं कि क्यों हमने लिबरलिज्म के कुछ प्रिंसिपल्स को, जिसको हम लोग कहते हैं जैसे फंडामेंटल राइट, so fundamental right is based on liberal values, while directive principles of state policy is based on socialistic values. तो यहाँ आर्गुमेंट फर्दर वो करते हैं और कहते हैं कि द इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन मेकर्स एग्रीड टू क्रिएट अ लिबरल पॉलिटिकल स्टेट इन इंडिया, बट कंसिडरिंग द सोशियो इकोनॉमिक इनइक्वालिटीज दे फेल्ट दैट अ कंप्लीट विथड्रॉल ऑफ स्टेट वुड परपिचुएट द एग्जिस्टिंग इनइक्वालिटीज एंड वर्सन इट्स फर्दर. सो इट वाज द स्टेट शुड बी गिवन अ पॉजिटिव रोल टू इंटरवीन एंड क्रिएट कंडीशंस फॉर एवरीवन टू पार्टिसिपेट इक्वली इन द डेवलपमेंट process. Thus, affirmative action and reservation policies to treat unequal in an unequal manner to treat unequals in unequal manner to achieve the constitutional vision of equality have become an important aspect of Indian Constitution. तो यहाँ पे ये बताते हैं कि क्यों वेलफेयर स्टेट या उस तरह के स्टेट को हमने क्रिएट किया along with the liberal values. The second aspect of this article, which has been given a heading by this author, an egalitarian outlook, and he argues in this part is that it is a vision of equality, aims to create an egalitarian society to minimize economic inequalities among the people. Reflecting John Rawls' egalitarian liberalism, including the three important principles of basic liberties, equal opportunities, and difference principle, the Constitution aims to create an egalitarian society, this author argues in this article. He further says that the fundamental right in Part 3 and DPSP in Part 4 of the Constitution reflects the above three principles of egalitarian liberalism. Thus, egalitarian liberalism aims to reduce inequality and not to create an absolute equal society. Kindly note that he is saying that thus egalitarian liberalism aims to reduce inequality and not to create an absolute equal society. Article 38 clause 2 of DPSP insists that the state shall strive to minimize the inequalities of income and eliminates inequalities in status, facilities, and opportunities. The constitutional ideological framework lays emphasis on reducing inequalities and creating an egalitarian society based on equal opportunity and facilities through state intervention. So author is underscoring the positive role of a state in creating an equal society. He further argues the constitutional, yes, I have read it. So further, Article 39C emphasizes that the economic system ought not to result in a concentration of wealth and means of production to the common detriment. Means that what Supreme Court of India has said in many judgments that the Indian version of socialism is different and it has been enshrined in this principle. And author is also referring some of the Supreme Court's judgment, and he argues that the Supreme Court of India has reiterated this principle in many of its judgments till the end of 1990s. In DS Nakara and others versus Union of India, the court said that the basic framework of socialism in the Constitution, is to provide a decent standard of life to the working people and the social security from cradle to grave, reiterating the role of welfare state in India. Secondly, he is also further giving a reference to a judgment, and he argues in Air India Statutory Corporation versus United Labour Union and others 1996, the court said that the ideological aspects of Indian Constitution found in the preamble. Please pay your attention to this statement. The court said that the ideological aspect of Indian Constitution found in a preamble, the fundamental rights and DPSP, and hence Directive Principles of State Policy, aim to establish an egalitarian social order, protecting social and economic justice and dignity of individual by promoting equality of status and opportunity. Further, he gives the reference to a judgment which is Samantha versus State of Andhra Pradesh 1947. And he argues that the court interpreted the meaning of word socialism in the Constitution is to reduce inequalities in income and provide opportunity and facilities to create an egalitarian social order. He is quoting Justice B.R. Krishna Iyer and argues that Justice B.R. Krishna Iyer's interpretation of Article 39B of DPSP in a state of Karnataka versus Sri Ranganath Reddy, that the public and private resources fall within the ambit of community resources, was in line with the constitutional ideology of creating an egalitarian society by strengthening the state's power of redistribution of resources for common good towards reducing inequality. And then the next component of this article is that economic reforms and inequality, where the key of this article is lying. What he has said in this article, the key essence of this article is here: economic reforms and inequality. He says that after adoption of neoliberal economic reforms in India, the constitutional ideology took a back seat, and the idea of welfare state as envisaged in constitution has withdrawn its commitment towards creating an egalitarian society. Of course, this can be a point of difference. Many person may differ with this statement, but of course I am reading the article written by him. And he further argues, Lucas Chancel and Thomas Piketty, this paper has already been discussed at this forum in our previous discussion. Lucas Chancel and Thomas Piketty from the Paris School of Economics have documented the rising inequality in India in their work, and quote, Indian income equality 1922 to 2015, from British Raj to billionaire Raj. This paper has been discussed in our study circle. So he has referred this paper. Their resource shows, he further states, their research shows that the top 1%, this data is important, and I am repeatedly saying that this data and this paper has been already discussed in this forum, right? So he argues that the top 1% of the earners had a share of less than 21% of total income in 1930s. 1930 में जो टॉप 1% अर्नर थे, उनका इनकम मात्र टोटल इनकम में 21% था. बाद में इंडिपेंडेंस के बाद, बट आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस ड्यू टू वेलफेयर इंटरवेंशन बेस्ड ऑन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल आइडियोलॉजी, दिस gap reduced, where top 1% had a share of 6% of total income in 1980s. फिर बताते हैं कि आजादी से बाद 1980 तक इनका जो 21% शेयर था 1930 में 1% अर्नर का, वो घट करके मात्र 6% हो गया. मतलब 47 से लेकर के आप 1980 तक इनका जो टोटल इनकम में हिस्सा था वो घटते गया और 6% तक आ गया. एंड नाउ ही इज कनेक्टिंग दिस gap with liberal reforms, which is called LPG reforms. And he says after the implementation of neoliberal reforms in 1990s, there were major structural changes that happened in Indian economy, which prioritized private capital investment and a slow withdrawal of the welfare interventionist state. The state took the positive role of creating and strengthening markets rather than working towards creating an egalitarian society as envisaged in the constitution. So he is arguing here that there is difference between the economic ideology of the present Indian state and the constitutional ideology. He is showing the contrast between these two tendencies and two kind of ideology. And then he argues that as a consequence of this, the top 1% income has reached 22% of the total income. मतलब ये बता रहे हैं कि जो 1% जो टॉप 1% इनकम था पहले, वो 22% तक पहुंच गया, पुशिंग बैक टू एन inequality situation worse than that in the pre-independent period. He further reiterates, means the research reiterated this inequality status in their recent research in 2024, emphasizing that the top 1% of income and wealth shares have reached 22.6%. मतलब कि जो 1% वेल्थ अर्नर हैं इस इंडिया के, उनका शेयर आज इनकम में 22.6% हो गया, जबकि टोटल वेल्थ उनके पास पूरे मतलब इनकम अर्नर्स का इंडिया का हम ले ले 22-23 में तो 40.1% हो चुका है, विच इज कंसिडर्ड वेरी high. He again referring the government of India's you can say report on this inequality, and he says that the status of inequality in India report 2022 prepared by the Institute for Competitiveness, commissioned by Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, highlighted that the periodic labor force survey, which is also known as PLFS 2019 and 20, which recorded that average monthly wages of 25,000 is being earned by top 10% of income earners, and remaining 90% earn less than 25% a month. मतलब इनका ये कहना है कि टोटल पॉपुलेशन का जो इनकम अर्नर ग्रुप है उसमें मात्र 10% लोग हैं जो 25,000 से ऊपर कमाते हैं, जबकि 90% ऐसे लोग हैं जो 25,000 से अभी भी कम कमा रहे हैं। और ये 2022 का जो ये कमिटी है एडवाइजरी काउंसिल टू प्राइम मिनिस्टर, उसका जो इंस्टीट्यूट फॉर कॉम्पिटिटिवनेस वो है, उसने ये रिपोर्ट 2022 में जारी किया है और ये बताते हैं कि किस तरह से इनइक्वालिटी बढ़ रहा है। And now the very important part or concluding part of this article is also very important, which is subtitled as an overlap with social inequality, and I will read that part. Further, the report titled quote towards tax justice and wealth distribution in India 2024 unquote by World Inequality Lab at the Paris School of Economics has brought in evidence to show how economic inequality and social inequality overlap in India. Just try to see this data. By 2022-23, 90% of the billionaire wealth was held by upper castes in India. It is also showing the caste composition. So don't forget that the caste is not an issue, right? It is saying that by 2022-23, 90% of the billionaires' wealth was held by the upper caste in India. Scheduled tribes are not present in the billionaire wealth. Remember this. Scheduled tribes are not present in the billionaire wealth. Other backward classes have a mere 10% presence, and scheduled caste have a 2.6% representation in the billionaire wealth. The report further emphasized that between 2014 and 2022, the OBC share has reduced from 20% to 10%, and upper caste share has increased from 80 to 90% in the billionaire wealth. Secondly, he further argues the upper caste are the only group which owns wealth more than its proportion of population, reiterating how social capital and economic advantages are overlapping in India. Further, Oxfam International, which have already discussed in the forum, even every chapter of the Oxfam report has been discussed here in the AIPF studies circle, so we can know it. So further, Oxfam International highlights that the rise in number of billionaires from 9 in year 2000 to 119 in 2023. इसमें ये बताया गया कि जो बिलियनियर्स होते थे वो 2000 में मात्र 9 थे और 2023 में वो 119 हो गए. It further compares income inequality and shows that it will take 941 years from a minimum wage earner to earn what a top corporate executive earns a year in India. तो 941 साल लग जाएगा अगर नॉर्मल हम वेज अर्नर की बात करें उसको उसकी बराबरी करने में जो टॉप एग्जीक्यूटिव एक साल में अर्न करता है. एंड नाउ द फाइनल पार्ट ऑफ दिस आर्टिकल रिटन बाय मिस्टर सेथुरामन इज दैट द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल विजन ऑफ क्रिएटिंग एन इगैलिटेरियन सोशल ऑर्डर by minimizing income inequality and eliminating social inequality is under threat from the neoliberal ideological order. This is the main framework of this article, that this neoliberal order is hampering, is diluting, is destroying the constitutional ideology. And hence he argues, violating the constitutional ideology, inequality levels are widening, strengthening the wealth concentration among the few. Further, the social inequality overlaps with economic inequality to give the upper caste a greater advantage in contemporary India. Constitution Day has passed, but there is an opportunity for us to critically evaluate our political and economic practices within the constitutional framework to assess our achievements and failures, reiterating the Baba Saheb Ambedkar words that the social and economic inequality will put political democracy in peril, which was said by Dr. Ambedkar while dedicating the constitution to the nations and the constituent assembly। उन्होंने ये कहा था कि अगर इकोनॉमिक इक्वालिटी नहीं इंश्योर होगी तो इस पॉलिटिकल इक्वालिटी का कोई मतलब इस देश में नहीं रह जाता है। सो दिस वाज द आर्टिकल विच आई वांटेड टू रीड फॉर दिस टॉपिक एंड आई हैव जस्ट कंप्लीटेड इट। ऑफ कोर्स with this article many may agree, many may disagree, many may question this article's ideological essence, and with this, and that is why I have chosen this article, that there is both the aspects of this article. So I have just completed, and now it is open for all of you to give your opinion, raise questions, and debate this issue, the issue of inequality in the realm of political and we can say development narratives. Thank you so much for your patient listening and hearing. Yes, thank you.